Hi guys, it's Mrs. Ferguson again, and we're outside today. So I'm going to be holding the book up kind of funny for you to see the pictures because there's a lot of glare, but if I hold it kind of high, you'll see, and then you see the picture better. So today we are reading, here we go, see, Walter the Farting Dog. Here we go, Walter the Farting Dog. And it is written by William Kotzwinkle and Glenn Murray, and it is illustrated by Audrey Coleman. Here we go. I'm going to take the cover, the dust cover off. It's easier to hold it that way. Here we go. Oh, helicopter overhead. The joys of filming outside. Okay, Walter the Farting Dog. Here we go. And I'm going to read first and then I'll hold the picture up most of the time. It's easier that way. So our main characters are Betty and Billy, and of course the dog, Walter. Here we go. Betty and Billy brought Walter home from the dog pound. Nobody wanted him, said Billy. But we love him, said Betty. Well, he smells awful, said their mother, and I think you better give him a bath. Oops. Little breeze. Mother walked in and said, he still smells awful. And that's when they got the first clue. The telltale bubbles in the water. He's probably just a little nervous, said Mother hopefully, and his stomach must be upset. Walter's stomach wasn't upset. Walter's stomach was fine. He felt perfectly normal. He just farted a lot. He did it when he bathed. He did it when he played with Betty and Billy. He did it when he walked around the house. He did it in the dining room. He did it in the kitchen, and he did it in his sleep. That dog farts morning, noon, and night, said Father. Well, he can't help it, Daddy, said Betty and Billy. They didn't mind Walter's farts. So what if he farts, Billy said to Betty when they were alone in the room with Walter, and Betty agreed. Walter agreed too. He sat there, looking innocently around, just farting. Take him to the vet, said Father. Farting, said the vet, or rectal flatulence, as we say in the medical profession. And then he prescribed a change in the diet. They gave Walter every kind of dog food. He farted. They tried him on cat food. They gave him hot dogs, hamburgers, lettuce and tomato sandwiches. They gave him fried chicken, rabbit food. They even made him a vegetarian. No matter what that dog eats, he turns it into farts, roared Father. Now I know some of those professional sites, it's easier to see the pictures, but I think it's more fun having me read it in the wind, trying to keep the pages from flipping over, and then the shade, and you only see parts of the pictures, right? Back to our book. Well, Walter got the blame for everybody else's farts too. If Uncle Herb, let one slip, he just went and stood over near Walter. And then all he had to say was, Walter! And everyone would look at poor Walter. He has to go back to the pound, said Father. No, Daddy, please, begged Betty and Billy. Don't send Walter away. He goes tomorrow, said Father. But they pleaded, and Walter farted. And it was all over. That night, Betty and Billy cried in their beds, and Walter looked at them unhappily. "Oh, Walter," said Betty, "you've got to stop farting. Because Father's going to send you back to the pound tomorrow," said Billy. Oops. There we go. Walter knew how serious the situation was. He would never see Betty and Billy again, so he resolved to hold his farts in forever. When Betty and Billy fell asleep, he walked down to the kitchen to see if there was anything around to eat. He managed to open the cupboard door with his nose, and he found a 25-pound bag of low-fart dog biscuits that the vet had prescribed for him, which made him fart more. Even though he knew they made him fart more, he just couldn't resist, and he ate the entire bag. Entire bag! "Very tasty," said Walter to himself. If you look at the biscuits, it says fart-free biscuits. I don't know if you can read that. This shadow's a little strong there. Let's get in the sunlight a little bit there. The sun is moving as we're reading here. And then he went and lay down on the sofa, and a gigantic gas bubble began to build inside him. "Oh, this is going to be trouble," he said to himself nervously, and he was afraid of what might happen if he let it go. He thought maybe the house would explode, so he kept it in, and it wasn't easy. In fact, it was torture. But he had resolved never to fart again, and his future depended on it. As he lay there with his tail wrapped tightly between his legs, he heard a noise at the window. Well, let's find the right angle here. Yeah, that's a little worse. Let's try that one. That one's a little better. And he watched it slowly open, and a pair of burglars came through, and they dropped silently into the kitchen. "Watch out for the dog," said one of the burglars. "Oh, he won't bite," said the other. "He's a wimp." Well, Walter might have bitten them, except he was so filled with gas he couldn't move. They tied a rag around his snout so that he couldn't bark. "Okay," whispered the first burglar. "Let's clear the place out." And they took everything they could get their hands on. Walter wanted to stop them, but he was having unbearable gas pains. He rolled on his back, and he waved his paws in the air, and he gnashed his teeth. "We've got it all," said the second burglar. "Let's go." That's when Walter let it fly, and it was the worst fart of his life. It made a tremendous noise, and it shot him across the room. A hideous cloud filled the air. The burglars clutched their throats, unable to breathe. With tears in their eyes, they raced for the window, and they tried to grab their bag with all the valuables in it, but their arms were too weak. "Let's get out of here." They jumped out the window and ran up the block, choking and gasping for air. Still blinded by Walter's attack, they stepped into the headlights of an approaching police car. "Hold it right there," said the policeman. Well, when Father and Mother came down in the morning, they found the open window, and they saw the bag with their valuables in it. And Walter was sitting beside it. He still had the rag tied around his snout. You'd have to say that he looked heroic. "He saved the silverware," cried Mother. "He saved the VCR," cried Father. "Good dog, Walter. You're our dog. even if you do fart all the time. And so the family learned to live with Walter, the hero dog. And that's the end of our tale. T-A-I-L. Tail. T-A-I-L. And on the last page, Walter's Wonder Park, 100% natural gas powered. And that's the end of Walter the Farting Dog. It's not actually the end because there's several other books featuring Walter, and we have them, most of them in the library. You might be able to find them online too. So if you guys want to hear more about Walter the Farting Dog, be sure to look for more of his books. All right, that's it for now. On to the next one. Bye, guys.